As you get older, you're going to start to notice how scary it is to learn new skills. Just think about the psychology of learning something like water skiing. Think of all the reasons we might not want to do it. See if any of these sound familiar. Well, I might fall and injure myself, and I have to be at work and take care of the kids. Or, I only get to the beach twice a year. I just want to enjoy it. I don't want to spend my time flipping around out there on the water. Or how about this one? This is a really common one. Ugh, so expensive. Or beneath it all, I don't want to look stupid. You can see why it's actually really easy to stop ourselves from learning anything new, especially the older we get and the more we get set in our ways. So I always found it interesting to talk to people who made it to the top of their field, and then they had to start all over again. Honestly, this is pretty daunting to me. What if I had to close up my business tomorrow and start over again? Would I know what to do on day one? Could I take the ego hit? Would I feel embarrassed? Well, I had the chance to sit down with Bo Eason, a former NFL player, and talk about what happened the day after he left football. Just imagine you'd spent your entire life playing football, going to practice, building bonds with your teammates, and making it to the very top of the field. And then one day, it's all over. Let's see what he has to say.
So I'm performing this play, and I've worked so hard on this play that I think I'm actually good at it, you know? But, so there's 100 kids in the audience, little kids, like screaming, and 2 NFL quarterbacks mixed in with 100 little kids this big.
Okay.
I thought they were going to step on them and crush them. And these 2 dudes are 6'5", 225, good-looking quarterbacks in the NFL. My brother and Kenny O'Brien, my roommate. And they're sitting in the audience, taking up about 8 seats because they couldn't fit in the chairs of this children's theater. And I'll never forget their faces after the show was over. So after the show was over, you know, you're saying hi to the kids and saying hi to the audience as the character. And Kenny O'Brien and my brother, Tony Eason, come walking up to me, 2 NFL quarterbacks. And this is how they look. Oh my God. What happened to you? And they said, 6 months ago, you were signing autographs on an NFL field, and now you can't get 100 kids to pay attention to you. This is the saddest day that we've ever seen. And I was like, oh, because I thought I did good.
Yeah.
I thought I'd made some progress. I got, which I did in my own way, but it didn't show to the world yet.
Yeah.
So those days, I'm telling you, everyone watching this, you got to know those days are coming for you. You want them to come. You have to have those days, otherwise you'll never reach the top. You're always going to be mediocre.
Yeah.
And was anybody ever born and they came out of the womb and they go, oh, I'm going to reach mediocrity?
Yeah.
You know, has that been anybody's, you know, birthright?
The more I get older, the more I admire what you did, because it's one thing if you're learning how to ride a bike or throw a football when you're 6 years old or even 15 years old. Nobody really, you know, everyone's kind of bad at everything.
Yeah.
But as an adult, you get good or maybe even great at something, and you become very protective of that. Because if there's one thing we hate, especially in this country, it is to be embarrassed.
Yeah.
I hate it. And I remember once going into a clothing store and I was looking at this like jacket, and my friend made fun of me from across. She goes, you know, that's a women's jacket, right? And I put it down and I never went back in that store. Because I don't want to be embarrassed. It just feels so bad.
Yeah.
So the more advanced and older you get, the less you want to try something new.
Right.
And I've seen that. Like, do I want to try a new sport?
Yeah.
No, it's probably better to just go back to what I'm really good at.
Yeah.
And so to humble yourself enough to go to that room the first time, feel horrible, be horrible, and then show up the next day.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. That's you know, an embarrassment, that's the best connective tissue that we have.
Okay.
You know, embarrassment. That emotion that feels like, that connects you more to human beings than anything else.
How does it do that?
Well, I've learned this through being in front of so many people over so many years and having to perform one-on-one with them, you know, like whether it's thousands of people or just one-on-one. All you're looking for as a performer, as a speaker, as a host of this show is connection with other human beings. Because if you can do that, then you can do something that most of the world is afraid to do. And the best connective tissue that we have, the thing that bonds us the quickest, is embarrassment, is kind of shameful things.
Yeah.
That's why, if you talk to gals about why did you marry that guy or why did you fall in love with him, they never say this, oh, because he said something smart. Or they never said, I married him because of his intelligence. They never say that. They always say, well, he was kind of uncomfortable when he walked up to me to ask me to dance, and then he spilled his beer down his shirt. And I said, I'm marrying this guy. That's usually how the story goes.
Yeah.
Because the connective tissue is so strong in those places that you actually want to let those struggles and those embarrassments in.
So you take the embarrassment that we all fear or are even afraid to feel, and you sort of flip it.
Right.
You say it's something we need.
Yeah,
It's something
yeah.
that actually connects us to everyone.
Yes, because if somebody is never going to put themselves in a place to be vulnerable, which
Yeah.
would be that spot, that place, why? Just think of it in these terms. Like, why, when you see a great skier coming down the mountain and he's perfect or she's perfect, you go, okay, they're perfect.
Yeah.
But you have no connection to them. When you see somebody tumbling down and they get up and like snot's coming out of their nose and then, their goggles are all in there, and you're like, I love this guy. Why do you fall in love with
Yeah,
that
that's
person?
true. It's a natural emotion. Like you're rooting for them.
Yep.
Wow.
So you always want to put yourself at the bottom of the next mountain. You don't want to put yourself at the top of the mountain because no one's interested. That's why when you climb Mount Everest, no one's like, hey, I got to the top. No one's like, oh, cool, you got to the top. Everyone's like, no, let me see when you started. I want to
Yeah.
see you down at the bottom.
Yeah.
What were you thinking then?
Totally.
I want to see the struggle that it takes. That's what connects us the most.
That's an amazing point about being embarrassed, putting yourself at the bottom of every mountain, and if you can build that into a discipline,
Yeah.
then it becomes part of your regular schedule. Good.
No
That's a
one
great point.
cares that we're successful. All they care about is, okay, you're successful, but I want to see when you get punched in the nose. What happened then?
Yeah.
So everybody, like everyone who's watching this, if you just think of your story, the proudest day of your life, think of that moment like for 2 seconds. Think of the proudest moment of your life. What was that moment? Okay, everybody got it? Now forget that because that's not a good story. Now, think of your lowest moment. Think of the moment you looked around and there were no answers. Start there. That's a story. Nobody wants to start there because it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And it's shameful. You're like, oh shit, I got cut from Little League, or I got dumped at the prom,
Yeah.
or the pretty girl said no, whatever it is,
Yeah.
whatever embarrassing moment it is, no one wants to share it. But if they actually would learn to start there, and then, because that moment, that defining moment, usually defines who you are for the rest of your life.